I joined my bullies and bullied my best friend out of school. When I was 11, I moved to a new school. These kids had all known each other for 6 years. The kids were awful, man. It manifested in sly comments and publicly embarrassing you and just leaving you out. It was all led by the male teacher in his mid-40s who enjoyed making comments about students to embarrass them in front of the class and feel popular. It was a small school and a really strange environment to come into after being in a wholesome primary school. There was this one girl who was nice to me, and for the first 2 months we were each other's only friends in an otherwise miserable place. Let's call her Anna. She has big buck teeth and she'd had 0 friends her entire life. I went home and told my mother often about what was going on at school, and one day she decided she'd go right to the principal's office and have a chat. I never asked her to do this as I knew it would not be solved this way, considering the ringleader was my teacher. Well, it went bad. So the male teacher pulled me and the 2 worst girls into his tiny office and basically told them my mother had gone to the principal and accused them of bullying me and asked them to explain themselves. Everything inside that office after that moment I can't remember. It was so stressful. The next thing I remember is he lets us go outside all together and these 2 girls corner me and demand I explain myself. At this point they knew Anna and I were friends. The week before she'd invited me to her house for her birthday, the first time she'd ever had a friend at her birthday. I don't know why, but I just told them that Anna had a huge problem with them and hated them, and that I didn't know why, and that when I went to her house she'd spoken to my mother. She'd told my mother they'd bullied us, and that my mother was very defensive and crazy, so she must have just gone to the principal without asking me first. For some reason this resonated with them so hard. They really hated that girl for no reason. So they invited me to sit with them at recess, and when I saw her I just didn't speak to her. I never spoke another word to Anna. She must have been so confused, and I'm sure she never found out what happened. We all agreed to freeze her out. This was my idea. I suggested it so that the truth wouldn't come out. They wanted to confront her, but I told them it's more effective if we just don't speak to her. This shared enemy caused them to accept me, and I eventually adapted to the environment and became quite a mean girl myself for a couple of years while I was at that school. Since all of the girls were freezing out Anna, she switched schools within a month, and I was relieved I didn't have to face her anymore. This is one of my biggest regrets, and I'm 24 and still think about it and her often. I don't know why I did it. It's hard to explain how toxic and vitriolic that school was. It wasn't normal.